Pasha Paroh, Y7. Thank you for tuning. We doing it right. I was doing some research just a few moments ago. Within the last 60 minutes, I'm always studying something of value. I know a lot of bandwidth is tied up with BS, but we trying to motivate the people to turn themselves around, if not the nation, before it's too late. And you just don't accomplish that watching cartoons. So let's get into the topic today. We flash that title for you. I might not even be saying this right, but Yick Wo versus Hopkins. We're gonna review briefly. This is an old case, so it's not one of the modern ones that you've seen here on the channel where we get to sit back and listen and watch the actual live audio from the court, the Supreme Court case itself, with the plaintiff and the defense reviewing the tort and the writ, playing a tennis match to be able to study the argument itself, right? So we'll be reading it, and since we'll be reading it, I kind of find more interest when we get to listen to the characteristics of the presentation from the live courtroom, sounds and imagery, the articulation, the battle. See, this is why people be arguing about bullshit, because they don't know how to argue. They all emotionally intertwined with bullshit, emotional attachments to variables, and that trumps them from being able to make a valid argument on a grand scale. So they always wind up looking narrow-minded, right? But we're gonna train on Y7 continuously so that we stand on our square, not on bullshit. So let's take a look at this. All right. So the long story short with this, right? Because I'll tell you why I'm interested in sharing this with you. It's kind of the reason I want to share this with you is a byproduct of me doing this research. It's not the actual research itself, but it shows a great parallel. I'm gonna give you a little bit of we're gonna go over this quick. I'm gonna give you a little bit of the backstory, and then I want you to see the comments, this one section in particular, the comments from, I guess you could call them the justices. Because I want you to, when we get to that point, I want you to note, because you've heard me say before, we need to get rid of the currency, and people be like, oh, he's hating because, you know, he don't have $50 million or something. And it's like, you don't have $50 million. You think you do. You just got debt. You got worthless pieces of paper. You got digits on a screen. You have nothing. Just like everybody else. Think about that the next time you hear someone call someone broke. They ignorant. They're insane because they don't know that they're broke too, because there haven't been no money in circulation since the 30s. And that's the problem with normative social influence. Got the society wrapped up on bullshit, TikToks of milk crates and all this shit, while meanwhile they robbing you blind. Then you'll come out and fight your neighbor. You'll cancel Kanye West. but you won't cancel the US dollar. Ooh, because canceling Kanye West made you feel like you accomplished something emotionally. Ooh, we're gonna burn the Yeezys that we just spent $5 million on. We're gonna burn them, but you won't burn that $100 bill. See how twisted the minds are of so many people. You see the sickness. Oppressed people favor their oppressors. And then that makes the oppressed, the zombies, the waiting mercenaries, the minions of those who dangle the carrot before them. So if you see me, I tried to. Let me do this real quick. I tried to intermingle. I be trying to intermingle with the world. You see them post, I'm not of this world. Well, why you in it? See, I don't have to say that because you don't see me. And it's not personal. It's osmosis. And when you go to a place where everybody is sick, then you have the chances of becoming sick too. This is why they wanted you to quarantine. This is why they wanted you to get the shot. And this is why now they telling you later on, well, it don't matter if you got it or not. Everybody's in the same position. But you fall for their recommendations every time. You believe them because they're in a suit. And I'm here with a beard and a bulletproof vest. Like every other American. All right, let's get into this. So basically, the backstory with this Yick Wo versus Hopkins, 118 U.S. 365. See, this was back in 1886, and that kind of explains why they don't have the nice little audio. They might have recorded it back then, but it could have got burnt in a fire or something. This one, they definitely probably wanted to keep off YouTube. You know what I'm saying? But let's get into this real quick. So basically, this is an appeal from the Circuit Court of the United States for the District of California, right? So the suit is brought. I'm gonna read this part to you, give you the gist of what's going on, and then we'll go from there. So in the suit brought to this court from the state court, which involves the constitutionality of ordinances made by a municipal corporation in the state. This court will, when necessary, put its own independent construction upon the ordinances. Now remember, you've heard me say things like, I'm an American, not a U.S. citizen. And you'd be like, oh my God, not you personally, because you're white at 7. But outside of this jurisdiction, outside of these borders, you know what we got to deal with on a day-to-day basis. And it's kind of getting old. And if we don't act now, as you can see, Fed now and social credit score is going to become a thing instead of just this latent, unspoken elephant in the room. You know what I mean? You got people, gatekeepers blackballing you already, all kinds of bullshit. Now they're going to be able to do it. They're going to be able to sign up and register to do it. You know what I mean? They're going to get their official gatekeeper blackballer badges because they're going to be social credit score hall monitors. You know what I'm saying? And get the little pins on Facebook that say, I in social credit score approved. You know what I mean? That's gonna be coming next. I am a top social credit score. You know what I mean? Like, fuck you, right? Fuck that shit. Okay? Because America's supposed to be free. They telling you shit like you got free markets, and then they charge you for everything. Why? Because you don't know there ain't no money. So you think you hustling, you think you busy, but it just shows how dumb society is that they would be willing to trade their whole life for an illusion. I haven't talked to one person yet that when I asked them, hey, what do you want to do? 9 out of 10 people there are going to give you an answer that has something that relates to how they want to think they're making money. Again, insanity, because there ain't no money. But the point is, 9 out of 10 people divert to what they want to do to think they're going to get paid to answer the question. And I'll be like, nah, what do you want to do? And after you clarify, and be like, you might want to go bowling. You might want to go to try surf on Hawaii because you never surfed before. You never been to Hawaii. You might want to go do that tomorrow. What do you want to do? And they're like, oh, and then they got this long list of stuff or a short list of stuff depending on the person, but they got a list of things they actually want to do. And ain't none of it on the list anything about work. Not for money. It might be some work involved. You might want to build a car from scratch, right? You might want to paint a picture, but you're not saying you really want to, what you want to do most of the time isn't what you want to, even if you lie to yourself. This is what happens. People lie to themselves. They be like, I do this and I love it. I enjoy. No, what do you want to do when you get done doing that today? What are you going to do when you get off? Oh, I want to go do it. Yeah, see, that's what you really want to do. So even though you've done this a couple times in the beginning, you found you like it. As soon as you make a business out of it, it's no longer a hobby, and it really loses enjoyment and controls your life. Because now you have to listen to customers. Like, you want to hear insanity, you want to hear hypocritical, go ask a business owner what the wrong mentality business owner, what they like most about owning their own business. Oh, I don't have to work for nobody. It's how dumb people are. I don't got nobody telling me what to do. You got customers? Oh yeah, I got customers, I got clients. Oh yeah, they tell you what to do and you work for them. So shut the fuck up, because you sound real stupid. But you don't know, because you're so emotionally programmed. You don't know the fucking words you're saying contradict what you believe. Again and again and over and over and over, and America's tired of it. U.S. citizens, you're fucking brainwashed for entertainment purposes. You're sick. There's something wrong with your mental. And we're trying to help you before it's too late. Because what you don't realize is U.S. citizens are property of the United States. And if the United States is in economic problems, well, guess what they have as collateral? What are they going to trade for their debt next? Not going to be the Americans. Stupid. But something's wrong with me, right? Gaslighting. Check it out. Pasha Paroh song. All right. Anyway, let's get back to this. But I mean, that's it's just stupid, like stupid shit over and over and over and over and over again. And then they celebrate the stupidity, and it's like, what the fuck? What the fuck? You're sitting here watching this happen, and you're just quiet because you think you're in a good position. And as soon as they take that position from you too, you're like, man, oh my God, this is wrong. This should never happen. Yeah, well, we were saying that 10 years ago when we could have done something all collectively about it, but you wanted to sit there and act like you were better than somebody. All of you. You wanted to act like you ain't have the same problems I have, right? Pasha Paroh the only one that got these issues. And then secretly behind, you're complaining about the same fucking shit, but you can't say it publicly. All of you scared. Scared you're going to lose something that you never even had. They're telling you by 2030 you're going to own nothing and be happy. So what do you think you have now? How do you think they're going to pull it off? It's because you already don't own nothing. You just don't know it. Your car, it's registered. Most of you, I guarantee it. That means you don't own the car. The state owns the car, but you didn't never learn that because you was too busy. Fuck it. That's another conversation. Let's get back to this. Just stupid shit, man. This is why the nation is where it's at right now. And the problem is we're trying to help y'all because the government is going to put you in the middle like pawns. And when they tell you all that we are the enemy, and in order for you to keep getting your little benefits, you're going to have to turn your backs on us or come at us, Americans, you're going to have a problem. Because then you're going to have to decide. But then the problem is you're not going to be able to be trusted because you can't jump ship in the middle of the war. And war just means confusion. So don't be out here trying to say, oh my God, I should say it was. People have spent countless hours trying to prepare you, and you are just so fucking insane by definition. And then you want to say something's wrong with us. Oh, ignore them. There's something wrong with them. We're the cool crowd. Right? Okay. Remember that. So, a municipal ordinance to regulate the carrying on of public laundries. And don't even feel like that's a special word. They're literally talking about public laundries within the city limits of the municipality. Violates the provisions of the Constitution of the United States if it confers upon the municipal authorities arbitrary power, right, at their own will and without regard to discretion in the legal sense, discretion of the term, to give or withhold consent as to persons or places without regard to the competency of persons applying or property of the place selected for the carrying on of the business. So basically what was happening here, if I skip down a little bit, is they had these laundries back in the day, 1886, right? Reset of the country after, the mud flood. For those that don't know nothing about that, they still believing in fucking 5,000-year-old pyramid, whatever. Anyway, so you don't know half the buildings buried underground, and you only get to live in the top part. You don't even know they're keeping it off limits. There's a whole half of stupid shit. Never mind. Y'all was too busy. I don't know what y'all was doing, but obviously it wasn't learning nothing about who you are, what the nation is, what the American continent was. You know nothing about nothing. And that's why you need more YNet 7 in your life. We're going to help you all. All right. So that's why the viewers here congregate. We do this to help you before it's too late. All right. So basically what's going on is the laundries, they had these rules, right? And they were like, yo, if you got a laundry, like it needs to be in a stone or brick building, and it needs to have this, and it needs to do that, and it needs to blah, 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 blah. You know how, just like your, your credit score. Oh, if you want a loan, you need to beat this criteria. You want to buy this, you need to have this, and then do that, and then right. This is now you see why I brought this to your attention. All right. So keep that in mind. Keep that parallel in mind. And what they were doing was they were like, okay, so they were like basically discriminating against the Chinese. And they would bring the Chinese at the time that had their laundry into, you know, all these like defaults, dishonors of this ordinance, right? But it would be other laundries owned by, they described as Caucasians in this actual document here, this court case citation. They described them as Caucasians. They would be in the same scenario, like they would be in the wood building too, but they wouldn't get the ordinance, fines, penalties, imprisonment, all that stuff, right? So let me see, where was it at here? I'll show you what I'm talking about. This is where they're talking about all right, so okay, might as well just cover this part with you. So a municipal ordinance to carry, regulate public laundries, blah, 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 blah. And administration of the municipal ordinance for carrying on the lawful business within the corporate limits violates the provisions of the Constitution of the United States if it makes arbitrary and unjust discriminations founded on defenses of race between persons and otherwise or in similar circumstances. Okay, so the guarantees of protection contained in the 14th Amendment of the Constitution extend to all persons within the territorial jurisdiction of the United States, without regard to differences of race, of color, or nationality. Okay, there's a lot said there, and what is important here is, of course, you're gonna catch the, you know, without regards to differences of race, color, but it says or of nationality. Okay, very key. All right, because if you're in the United States jurisdiction, Americans for entertainment purposes are another different nationality. Like, I'm foreign, even though I'm here with you right now, I'm foreign. It's kind of like diplomatic immunity. Okay, so with that on the table, I'm trying to put this in words that the average person can understand, because I mean, I'm reading this here, but some people may not be ready for this yet, and I'm trying to do that and not succumb too much to the ambiguity factor so that you lose the translation. That's why you don't see me using a lot of other descriptions, because you got to learn to do it like this, or else you won't stand proper when it comes time to explain it in these arenas. This is why when you get an attorney, you're looked at as a minority. I don't care what you think your skin color is, you're looked at as a minority, because the word minority means like child, like minor. So that's why you can't speak in court, and you have to be represented, because children don't talk when grown folks are speaking. Okay, so if you can't stand on this type of conversational level, you're a minor to the world. I don't care how cool you think it is and how, you know, whatever. You're just not ready to have these conversations. And this is why people feel the way they feel about Pasha, because Pasha doesn't waste time with people who don't want to understand. It's a difference between people who want to learn and they don't get it, but they want to learn it, and people who don't want to understand. So they'll come to you and say, oh, Pasha's rude, he's ignorant, you know, he's this, he's that. Man, we don't want to. Yeah, because they were fatigued in conversation. They were fatigued in conversation. See, that's what addiction will do to you. When you're addicted to the dollar, that's a drug. You work 20 hours a day so you can go ball out at the club on a weekend, or so that you can come stunt on 24s. You work 20 hours a day. for nothing because the paper is nothing. What you bought, you don't own, but you don't know it because you're in a sickness mentality. But somebody comes try to talk clarity to you for an hour and you fucking tired. That's why America be like, fuck you. That's why America be like, fuck you. Let's get back to this. So, what they were saying was those subjects of the Emperor of China who have the right to temporarily or permanently reside in the quote unquote United States. Now, keep in mind that word reside is powerful. You got to know what a residence is. This is why you hear me say, I don't have a residence, I have a domicile. I'm domiciled here. So you think you know what you're talking about. So those subjects of the Emperor of China who have the right, and hold on, before I say this again, I know I'm going to repeat it for a third time, but I had to stop here because even though this is talking about the Emperor of China, those are subject to them. Keep in mind, this is the same for any foreign entity, any other nationality. Anything outside of the quote unquote United States. You don't even know what the United States is, and you calling yourself a United States citizen because you didn't read the United States Code where it told you the United States is its territories, its possessions, and its political subdivisions. And when you look up what the territories are, it's Washington, D.C., and 14, 15, or 16 islands around the world. That's it. That's it. That's all the territory of the United States. So when you step outside of your house, your apartment, and you hit that ground, chances are you aren't fucking stepping on the United States. But you don't know that. So you judge me for calling myself an American. You judge people like me for saying that we're something you're not familiar with because you don't know any better. But we don't judge you because we were once there too, even if it was 20 years ago. We were just like you. So you don't know the danger of voting because you had to register. And that's how you became a political subdivision, which made you property. You don't know calling yourself a United States citizen makes you property of the United States. Like I said, what are they going to trade for that debt? You. They're going to trade you. And everything you think you own with it. You wondering why they talk about national debt ceiling? What is that? What is that? What is the public debt ceiling? Anyway, that's another conversation. I already did a video on that. So let's get back to this. Remember, I'm a man of equations, not variables. So keep in mind that the truth is infinite. Just because we're talking about the Emperor of China subjects here doesn't mean, oh, I'm not Chinese, this doesn't apply to me. No, fucking it said without regard to differences of race, color, or of nationality. You just got to know what's your nationality, because nationality determines status, or status determines jurisdiction, which basically means your nationality determines what law applies to you, but you didn't know that. So you're calling yourself United States citizen. You're calling yourself black, and neither one of them are a nation. The United States is a corporation. Ain't no country on the map called black. So when they go to find out what law applies to you, where they go? Where they gonna get that? And you wondering why you feel like they doing you dirty in the courts all the time. because you don't even know what the courts are. Anyway, let's get back to this. Those subjects of the Emperor of China who have the right to temporarily or permanently reside within the United States are entitled to enjoy the protection guaranteed by the Constitution and afforded by the laws. All right, so it was two separate cases that they brought together in this one trial. A summary of like this part here is saying the sheriff may return to the writ that he held the petitioner in custody, right? So he held him in custody by virtue of a sentence of the police judge's court number 2 of the city and county of San Francisco, whereby he was found guilty of a violation of certain ordinances of the Board of Supervisors of that county, and adjudged to pay a fine of $10, which was big money back then, right? And remember, we're talking 1880. The court case was 1886, so we're probably talking, 1880s. Let's just leave it at that. $10 was a grip. Now $10 is a large French fry at McDonald's. So anyway, and in default of the payment, be imprisoned to the county jail at the rate of 1 day for each dollar of fine until said fine should be satisfied, and a commitment in consequence of the non-payment of said fine. So this is what they were saying to them. Okay, here, let me just summarize this. I'll give you this last sentence here. So without having, they wanted you to obtain consent of the Board of Supervisors, right, to have this laundry, but they wanted it, they were saying, oh, the building has to be located or constructed either of brick or stone. You know what I mean? Here, you can come back, you see the title here, look this shit up yourself, save some time here, do some research yourself, see with your own eyes. You can look up these parts. I'm gonna get to the next part that I want to really show you. They break down the other part of the other court case, etc., etc., etc. Like they're talking about stuff here that, like it says that the above prescribed or described premises have been inspected by the Board of Fire Wardens, and upon such inspection, said board found all proper arrangements for carrying on the business, that the stoves, washing and drying apparatuses, and the appliances for heating, smoothing irons are in good condition, blah, 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 like your inspector shit, right? Okay. So what was going on is here, look at this part. It is also, let me make sure. All right, yeah. It is also admitted to be true, as alleged in the petition, that on February 24th, 1880, there were about 320 laundries in the city and county of San Francisco, of which about 240 were owned and constructed by subjects of China. And of the whole number, 320, about 310 were constructed of wood, the same material that constitute 9/10 of the houses in the city of San Francisco at that time. The capital thus invested by the subjects of China was not less than $200,000, and they paid annually for rent, license, tax, gas, and water about $180,000. Big money being made off of this laundry shit, ordinance shit, right? So the key there is about 240 were owned and conducted by subjects of China. The whole number 320, right? Out of all 320, 310 were constructed of wood. So simply, there were still 70 others that were made out of wood, but they didn't have the problems that they gave the Chinese. All right, so you get the situation. Okay, I want to skip down to the conversations from the justices because they said some very pronounced things that I want you to keep in mind when it comes to your currency, your loans, your qualification for certain shit, all of this shit, like credit, all this shit, right? And just look at the parallels of this and let me know what you think, because you're going to hear what they say about this, but tell me what's the difference about that? Or is there no difference? Right? All right. Let me find it because this document was lengthy and I didn't mark it. So give me a second to find the part that I'm looking for here. Hold on. Okay, so here's one part I want to go over with you. All right, I'll start here. So if the ordinance under consideration is valid, then the Board of Supervisors can pass a valid ordinance preventing the maintenance in a wooden building of a cooking stove, heating apparatus, or a restaurant within the boundaries of the city and county of San Francisco without the consent of that body, arbitrarily given or withheld as their prejudices or motives may dictate. I mean, they can do whatever the fuck they want to do when they want to do it, right? So if it is competent for the Board of Supervisors to pass a valid ordinance prohibiting the inhabitants of San Francisco from following any ordinary, proper, and necessarily calling within the limits of the city and county, except at its arbitrary and unregulated discretion and special consent, and it can do so if the ordinance is valid, then it seems to us that there has been a wide departure from the principles that have heretofore been supposed to guard and protect the rights, property, and liberties of the American people. So tell me, what's the difference between that statement and everything the bank's been doing to us for the last 100 years? I'm gonna read it again. Now they were talking about laundry. Now think about this: if they're talking about you going to get a loan for whatever, compare your business, your car, your house, your tuition, compared to somebody else that gets approved for the same loan, you got denied for it, right? I mean, I'm not trying to make it, we're not pointing fingers. I'm equation based, so just you fill in the variables that make you emotionally satisfied with shit. It's all gonna be the same thing to me. So if it is competent for the Board of Supervisors, so take that word out and put the bank, or put the dealership, or the mortgage company, or the whoever the fuck gives you tuitions, I don't know. So whatever. Student loan debt, you know what I mean? Biden, did he give back student loan debt money to somebody? Did he pick you? Did he pick someone else? Did anybody get it? I don't know. Ukraine got money, right? All right, so if it is competent for the Board of Supervisors to pass a valid ordinance prohibiting the inhabitants of San Francisco from following any ordinary, proper, and necessary calling within the city, within the limits of the city and county, except at its arbitrary and unregulated discretion and special consent, and it can do so if this ordinance is valid, then it seems to us that there has been a wide departure from the principles that have heretofore been supposed to guard and protect the rights, property, and liberties of the American people. And this is what basically struck me in the beginning. There's more to come here, because you hear me say it before for I don't know how long now. You can't say that you're supporting the Constitution, whether you believe in that or not, particularly life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, and say you accept a currency-based system where people not only get to tell you who can have how much as a loan, or get what car, or get what house, and pay what little payments and what big payments, but then you got someone else telling you what the fucking currency is worth. They're telling you $1 gets you a bag of chips today. It gets you a what used to be a quarter soda in the past tomorrow. I mean, you got so much manipulation here. They just doing it whatever the fuck they want to. Meanwhile, oh, don't worry about it over here. You're gonna get approved for 10 times as much. So it don't matter if we make a loaf of bread $10. We're just gonna give you 10 times as much money, and we'll say that the other people credit score or they bank history or some other bullshit we can figure out what to say tomorrow disqualify from them from getting the same fucking opportunity you got. Oh, kind of sounds like that's what this is talking about here. And spoiler alert, they lost this case. The people that was trying to incite the ordinance, and they let the people out of jail. So what's the difference between this and your current currency system? Oh, and don't go celebrating digital currency thinking it's gonna be something different. It's just gonna mean now, motherfucker, you can't hide the paper nowhere. They're gonna see everything. They're gonna tell you what they want. And if you speak out of line, they're gonna tell you that you don't get to spend nothing next week. They're gonna shut your stuff down. Right? But you okay with that as long as you can still feel like you on top of the day, right? As long as your job's still direct deposit on Friday next week, you okay, right? You just gonna sit there and keep going along with it, right? You don't give a fuck about your daughter, your son's life, future, your grandchildren's future. You're basically accepting their grade going to fucking modern day slavery, but you're okay with that, right? As long as you can still turn that wheel. As long as you still got cheddar biscuits from Red Lobster in front of you, you're okay with that, right? Pasha's crazy, right? Something wrong with him, right? All right, let's keep going with this. For those that get it. And if by an ordinance, general in its terms and form, like the one in question, by reserving an arbitrary discretion, by reserving an arbitrary discretion in the enacting body to grant or deny permission to engage in a proper and necessary calling, a discrimination against any class can be made in its execution, thereby evading and in effect nullifying the provisions of the national constitution. Then the insertion of provisions to guard the rights of every class and person in that instrument was a vain and futile act. The effect of the execution of this ordinance in the manner indicated in the record would seem to be necessarily too close up to close up the many Chinese laundries now existing, or compel their owners to pull down their present buildings and reconstruct of brick or stone, or to drive them outside the city and county of San Francisco to the adjoining counties beyond the convenient reach of customers. Either of which results would be little short of absolute confiscation of the large amount of property shown to be now and to have been for a long time invested in these occupations. So they were absolutely against gentrification in 1886. Why do you accept it today? Because you don't know how to argue it. That's the problem with being emotional. So when you hear people like me say, marching ain't the answer, it's not because we don't give a fuck. It's because what do little kids do when you don't give them what they want? They throw a tantrum. That's how the people that run the world view that shit. They view you like little kids having a hissy fit in the streets. And they're just gonna wait for you to get tired and put you right back in the same fucking system and then charge your ass extra taxes for all the shit you tore up. They don't give a fuck because their money, currency don't mean nothing to them. The rich can afford time. They gonna wait it out because we haven't built nothing together to replace the system. This is why every time you go talking about let's boycott Walmart, you look like fools because you can't boycott something that you haven't built a system to replace. So they're just gonna wait for you to get tired because you gotta go back to Walmart. This is why people want you to believe Pasha's crazy, because he's telling you we need to build the fucking system. You got all that money you think you got, you know what I mean? You said you got money, right? You said you're getting money, right? We see it in your music videos, right? You driving Lambos, right? What you doing with it? This is why they use Facebook and all these social media tools to keep the people that's like us. You know, if you go up there and tell jokes about the neighbor falling off the roof with a skateboard, your thing they'll push that because it makes America, it makes the United States look dumb as fuck when France is watching that shit. They're over there like, look at them idiots falling off the roof of their house on a fucking skateboard, hit the damn telephone wire, got electrocuted, and then the dog bit their ankle. I mean, they're looking at us like we're fucking retarded. But you got your Facebook money payout, your YouTube stream payout. You happy. You got 10 million views. Somebody sitting there consuming it, laughing. Laughter fucking releases painkiller, natural painkiller into your bloodstream, because when you laugh, your stomach muscles contract and your body starts to feel like that's hurting. So it releases a painkiller into your bloodstream, and you wondering why you want to laugh more instead of be serious, because you don't realize even if you don't take pain medicine, you're addicted to fucking painkillers. That's why you want to be around people that make you laugh all the time. Pasha too serious. Fuck you. You addicted to painkillers and don't know it. You laughing while they killing you. The frog in the hot water, as it keeps getting hotter, slowly cooks the frog because it feels like it's okay. It's told that its mind is telling it you're strong enough to endure this little change, which is very little change, but 1,000 little changes took it from 50-degree water to boiling, and now the frog is dead in boiling water. You the frog. Don't be the frog. Let's get back to this. If this would not be depriving such parties of their property without due process of law, it would be difficult to say what would affect prohibited result. The necessary tendency, if not the specific purpose of this ordinance and of enforcing it in the manner indicated in the record, is to drive out of business all of the numerous small laundries, especially those owned by the Chinese, and give a monopoly of the business to the large institutions established and carried on by means of large associated Caucasian capital. This is their own fucking words, not mine. Because somebody's gonna hop in the comments, or they too scared to talk. They're not gonna hop in the comments. They're gonna be, that's his opinion. Don't worry about what Pasha say. No, bitch. This is the motherfucking court case citation. These are arguments made in the court of law. Like I told you, you don't understand how to argue. What is the difference between this and what's going on with your failing banking system right now? United States citizens, why aren't you saying something about it, doing something about it? Because you don't know what to do. But everybody that can tell you what to do, you run from. You run back to the other United States citizens to make you laugh, and they all laugh, and y'all can get the painkiller medicine, and you can say that we're crazy and something needs to be done with us. The frogs in the boiling water. I'm gonna read this part again. Remember, think about your credit score. Think about your last loan you got. Think about not that we want to keep up with the Joneses, but think about the people who would like to keep up with the Joneses. Like I said, this is talking about a laundromat, but think about your banking system, since national debt, debt ceiling, collapsing banks, 5-6 of them in the last however many days. It's happening in front of your face. Digital currency coming in, dollar losing world value, hyperinflation threats for entertainment purposes, social credit score. I mean, think about all this stuff when I reread this part here, because in 1886 they wasn't having this shit. This is why they made y'all soft. This is why they made you think that you're hard and people like me are soft. I'm just trying to keep you alive. I mean, because I know the remedy if I have to unlive you. I'm just trying to keep you alive because I don't want you to get on my nerves. Because I don't like being irritated. Because when something's a problem, analytical people are taught to remedy the problem. And see, we have to keep in mind that you guys don't know any better yet. So we can't really hold you at fault, kind of, sort of. So every time you think you punking somebody, or you think you saying something, or you think you laughing at somebody, we're just really looking at you like children, understanding that you don't know any better. And that's the problem, is that you think you're celebrating a victory when in reality you're celebrating an L, and you don't know it. Now I'm gonna reread this part. If this would not be depriving such parties of their property without due process of law, it would be difficult to say what would affect that prohibited result. The necessary tendency, if not for specific purpose of the ordinance and of enforcing it in the manner indicated in the record, is to drive out of business. Quarantine anybody? We just went right? To drive out of business all of the numerous small laundries, especially those owned by Chinese, and give a a monopoly of the business to the large institutions. Oh, First National local around the corner just collapsed, and mega bank will be buying it up under receivership, and oh, don't worry, your money may or may not be there, but the big banks are too big to fail. Fuck with us, right? Because they taught you the history they wanted you to know, the history, you don't know antiquity, which is the true past. This is why you're repeating it right now. The only difference is they done manipulated your little minds into going along with the shit. And this wouldn't have flew 150 years ago. But something wrong with us, though. Something wrong with American people calling themselves Americans. You gotta distance yourself from them. You gotta go run to the United States Corner Hub and huddle up together because they got you in a fucking orphanage and you don't know it. That's what it is. Literally, I mean, that's what it is. It's literally an orphanage. When you have your birth record, your record of live birth for entertainment purposes, and your mother signs that, if you want to be entertained for a little story, that document means that your mother found a child of unknown origin, even though you just came out of her. And this is why your mother and father have guardianship instead of parental rights. If you get married under the traditional format, all the products of the marriage are property of the state. You didn't know that, most of you. So when the married couple has young, it's property of the state. And they're just able to take care of it and watch it like a daycare. And this is why you get the benefit of child credit for entertainment purposes when some people file their taxes. They're paying you to watch their property. You don't know it. Now call me a comedian, laugh at that shit, get your painkiller in your gut, call it entertainment, call it whatever the fuck you want. But it's not legal advice. It's entertainment. So I want you to let me know. I mean, I ain't even gonna read the rest of this shit. I mean, I told you to it basically, I mean, I read it myself, but I'm not gonna waste your time right now. You can come find this court case. You see it on the screen. You know we've been to this site a many times reviewing court cases. We just couldn't listen to the audio on this one. And read it for yourself. At the end, the defendants won. They overturned everything. But that was the part that had me like, that sounds just like currency. This is why I'm saying we need to get rid of the currency. And I wonder how many people would stand shoulder to shoulder on I-85 for this. But I don't want you to do that because that's not the right way to do it. But I'm just saying, you know what I mean? When this video surfaces, it's gonna get like 50 it's gonna get like 50 views. But when your neighbor gets shot by the police because the neighbor's state property, and you don't understand that they can do whatever they want to do with their property, and that's why the police keep getting off. So you don't know these things. Your emotional attachment to, oh my God, they keep doing stuff to us, because you don't know that you're their property and they can do whatever they want with their property. But your emotional attachment to, oh my God, they keep doing something to us. Not, hey, let's be free together. Let's get you out of that bondage. Let's Harriet Tubman your ass. No, let's go march and tear up stuff. I'm not saying I get the intent, right? But you come back home and you're still in bondage. Okay? So what I'm saying to you is, here is the smoking gun. The justification to make everything you want in life free if we all come together. This right here, if we put our minds together, our collective energies, instead of hating on the person next to you, find out what the fuck they good at. Okay, you do this. All right, this is how this can help us put all the pieces of the nation together to make this argument, not this march, not this riot. I don't give a fuck if you tear up shit. We the ones gotta pay for it in one way or another, right? But that's what emotions do. But you can't fault the people, because when you look in the average neighborhood, somebody had an argument with their significant other, ran outside, bust their window out, and then one of them got to pay for it to get fixed anyway. So I guess that's what kids do. So now, instead of being able to put the extra $300 into your business, you got to put it into getting a new window. Because you're in a mindset where you want to stay with someone that you can't go outside when you want to go outside, and y'all had an argument that led to your window getting smashed, and you call it love. You see how the sickness starts from something way over here, but it's so interwoven into the daily lives that you call life, because you don't realize the mental illness. The moment you do something I don't like, I'm going to tell you about it. And then after that, I'm going to get rid of you because it's a trust issue. I can't trust you after that. I don't care if it's just that you showed up late. You show up late once, I'm going to tell you about it. You show up late again, I'm not going to give you another time to come. Because I'm not going to be sitting here or anywhere with anxiety of, oh man, it's 5 minutes after the hour. We had a meeting that was supposed to start at 6 o'clock. I'm not doing it to myself. I don't care if it was only 7 minutes. I don't care what excuse you come up with. If you have me sitting there at 6 o'clock and you whatever, 5 minutes before, 10 minutes, 15 minutes before, all of a sudden you call and got an emergency, I don't want to hear that shit. Everybody got shit going on with their life. I bet your ass would have made it to some Red Lobster biscuits. All right, so I don't accept that. I don't accept that you can interact with other stuff on social media, laughing and crying and whatever, but you can't interact with this shit right here that's supposed to change our fucking world for us. You don't got time for that. Ain't no point in you having access to me. This is what we doing over here. I don't give a fuck what you think you're doing. If you ain't doing this, you're a part of the problem. I'm not saying it's gotta be this exactly, but if you ain't doing something to get America back being America, then you are part of the United States citizen. And they're training you guys to exterminate us through Normative social influence. See, because when y'all get pulled over, you take your traffic ticket and you pay it. Because you believe you were taught, you believe you were a driver. See, I'm a traveler. That shit don't matter to me. You don't know that the speed limit only applies to commercial vehicles. So when you get a speeding ticket, you think you were doing something wrong. You don't know any better. So then you want to come around me and tell me why I should be like you. I don't want to be insane. I don't want to have someone else represent me while I gotta sit there and be quiet in the background and wait for them, and hopefully they tell you who I really am or what I really wanted to say. Fuck that. That's the problem right now. And I'm not saying, like I said, I'm not saying you got to do exactly what you see me doing, but if you ain't trying to meet us at Destination America, then that means you're against freedom. It's that simple. We on some Harriet Tubman shit. You need to get with this. Pasha Paroh, Y7.